everyone. This is Dr. O. How are you? Again, we are on for another episode, Steam Sparks, Think STEAM Career Podcast. This afternoon, I am fortunate to be speaking to a guest who is just phenomenal. His name is Andrew Ametelus. He is incredible. I say that he's incredible because one of the things that he's doing that I truly like is that he has a fashion design company, and it is called Favela, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Favela Boys Apparel, correct.
Oh my God! Wow! And then guess what he's doing? Guess what he's doing with that company? So he's also using that company. Man, he's a man after my heart. He's also using that company actually to also get resources to sponsor STEM programs, yeah, in the Caribbean and also in the United States. I thought that is innovative. I like that because we all know how it is difficult to get sponsors, right? Or when you write a grant, it's very competitive and it takes time. But having your own project and using part of that project to sponsor a STEM program, I think that it is innovative. And all of us should be doing the same thing. We're smart enough to do that. I said I was going to use 10% of my sauce, African sauce, if I ever get successful, right? He's going to be using, he told me that he's going to be using 15% of his profit, whatever profit that he gets to sponsor his STEM programs. I thought that is innovative. Now he's challenging me now. Now I've started to reconsider my 10%. So let him introduce himself and tell us a little bit about what he's doing. Please go ahead. Andrew,
Hey,
how are you, sir?
good. Hey, I'm doing great. Like I said, every day is a holiday, and
Oh,
I really mean that. Life is beautiful, right?
excellent,
Uh,
excellent,
so
excellent.
thank you very much for having me. I gladly appreciated being here, talk about STEM and talking about the brand that I have, and also talking about how I can get pretty much people to come and be part of this project, right? Because it's not just for me, it's for us, because we
Yes,
can all benefit from this, right? So
yes,
just,
yes.
just to go in more details, the brand name is Favela Boys Apparel, which is a brand that we donate 15% of a net profit towards STEM education for underserved communities, right? So not only in the US, but we also operate in the US, Latin America, the Caribbean, as well as we're looking also into Africa. Just to give you a little example, earlier this year in January, I was in Brazil. We were donating a few computers to a nonprofit organization that focused on STEM because the kids need it for coding, cybersecurity, where they teach at that particular nonprofit organization, but also the adults will come in at night also learning different skills, different trade that can assist them as well.
Wow, that's incredible. Are
Thank
you
you.
still there?
I'm here.
Yeah. Continue, please. Continue, please.
Yeah, so just to tell you a little bit more about the product, what are the projects?
We're going to go more into details what you were doing. I love your description of what you're doing. While you're making those description, I was trying to find your website, which I know that you have given it to me earlier.
Correct. It's very easy.
Okay.
Favela Boys Apparel, that right there, you just put apparel and you have the website. Favela Boys Apparel, and then the website should populate. And pretty much my website have everything I discussed on there. It show you some of the project we're working on.
Okay, Favela, right? You say Favela
Correct.
Boys.
Favela Boys Apparel
Okay,
is the
apparel.
website. Um,
Okay.
I can
So
put
we're
it in the
getting
chat.
something now. Favela Boys. See. All right. If you're located in Philadelphia, I believe you have a website, Facebook, also you're on Facebook.
Yeah, we're on Facebook. We're on all social media platforms.
Oh my gosh, this
Uh,
is incredible. Let me share, man. Let me share it. I gotta share it. I don't know if you can see. Just bear with me for a moment.
Right, take your time.
I'm about to share the website. Sweet. Can you see it now?
Yes, this is a social media account, right? You can go on the website. You find this is some of the pictures we have on the social media website. So at first, so this is yeah. So just one thing I want to add, the aesthetics of the brand is about showing the beauty, the humanity of the inner city, right? So if you see some of the images, so the graphic tees that we have, just like the one this young man is wearing, it's all about showing the beauty, the humanity of the inner city to the brand, right? Because when we turn on the 6 o'clock news, the 5 o'clock news, often the depiction is never in a positive light. And there's a lot of humanity, there's a lot of beauty in these inner cities, whether you're in Africa and whether you're in Latin America, wherever there's an inner city, there's beauty in there. And so the brand not only donate 15%, but we also show the beauty, the humanity of the inner city. It's all about the inner city. Even the name is all about the inner city. It's something I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
To just give you a little background, before I came up with the brand.
Oh, we're gonna go there. We're gonna go
Okay.
there. I just want to give the audience, our
Oh, very.
listeners, a little taste of what your product is. It's fantastic. It is amazing. Literally, I would say I would like to encourage everyone out there to please support this organization. As you've heard from him, not only is he trying to portray our inner city in a positive light, but he's also giving 15% of the profits that he makes to a STEM program. This is major. This is innovative. As far as I don't know of anyone that gives 15% of their income
No,
to
I don't know anyone
an
either.
organization. That this is really fabulous. But let's get into it. Let's ask some more questions. Let's get into more questions because we need to know a little bit more about you. Could you share the story behind your journey from? I
Yeah,
know you're from Haiti, right? Originally,
correct.
if I'm not mistaken. Can you share your story, the story behind your journey from Haiti to the United States, and how your experience growing up in various communities have influenced your part? Obviously, I see that the focus of your organization is to try to change the conversation from the inner city being as it is portrayed out there, right, in a positive
Correct.
light.
Correct.
Look at the illustration in the back of this shirt, of this T-shirt, right? This is really amazing. And I love what you just said earlier. We're talking about like this young man, for example, in the inner city, is just to portray the environment, the mode, right? The mood in that very environment, to tell a story, basically. If
Yeah.
I correct me if I am wrong, but while you're describing your journey from Haiti to United States and how your experience in all this community has affected or have influenced your view, your perspective to this point. Can you please also integrate what I just shared, what you just shared about this young man, please? Go
Correct. Pretty much born and raised in Haiti, right?
ahead. Okay.
I've lived in Port-au-Prince, the biggest city in Haiti, right? We live in
Yeah.
Port-au-Prince. And at some point there was a coup d'etat that happened. And I ended up living in a farm for a couple of years. So
Wow.
I've had that experience living on a farm, 100 acres of land with mules, with taking shower in the
Oh, wait a
lake.
minute. Then why do you come back? Why do you come to the United States, man?
What? The coup
100
d'etat, the
acres?
mules, everything, 100 acres. So I live in a farm, doing the farmland, and I live in the city. And then eventually, I was the one of the lucky one that, because Haiti, the life and experience of Haiti there wasn't a lot of opportunity. I was one of the lucky ones to be able to migrate to the United States. And then the first place I landed was Brooklyn, Crown Heights, back in the 90s, 96 to be exact, right? if anyone was in Brooklyn, not the Brooklyn of today, Brooklyn back in '96, you understand it wasn't the Brooklyn of today, the Brooklyn of gentrification Brooklyn that we know, right? So I had to go ahead and I didn't speak any English. I had to learn the language, right? I had to learn the language. At the same time, I was also an outsider because it's so new to me. So I had to be outside, try to understand the culture as well. Understand the culture, understand the language. Eventually, I moved to Queens, Hollis, Queens to be exact. Same thing. It's a whole different culture. Even though it's still New York, there's a different culture there. It's more residential, but it's still the inner city at the same time, right? Start to learn a little bit more English to communicate with friends. Start making more friends because I can speak now instead of being, because when you don't speak English, you just analyzing, you just observing because you don't speak the language. You can't communicate with other people unless they speak your language. It actually is a gift because you just analyzing everything, you just learning everything, you just trying to understand everything. And then once you're able to communicate, now you start talking about music, films, and so on and so forth. And then eventually, when it hit 1999, I moved to the suburbs of Philadelphia, right outside of Philadelphia, right outside of the city, right? And that was a shock as well, because I'm going to school where when I was in New York, some of the kids had the clothes, the fashion and everything, right? Some of them, most didn't. When you go to where I went to the suburbs, all the kids, they turn 16, they get brand new cars.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We got Mercedes, everybody's looking fresh. So it was a whole different thing. It was very different. It was like more focused on education. You talk about college, university. These are conversations. I didn't even know what college was when I was in New York. Right? I didn't even know what high school was when I was in New York. But when you go to the suburb, that's the conversation you're having. That's the conversation.
I mean, is there a difference?
There's a huge difference.
Oh, really?
A huge difference, because when you in the suburbs, the kids are talking about what college we're going to. What did you get in the SATs? So that's the focus. The focus is that, right? Because most of the parents are white collar doctors, lawyers, or pretty much doing well, right? So they want to make sure their kids have the skill set to continue that path moving forward. So that's also all these things, right? From Haiti to New York, the inner city to the suburbs. So I had a taste of everything. So that's why it's so easy for me to get along with pretty much everyone. And I'm able to do that over the world because I travel a lot as well. And I love it. I love it being able to have all these different experiences. And that's pretty much how I came with this whole clothing brand, right?
So are you saying that you've had that idea for quite a while of coming up with the clothing apparel? You've had that idea. How long was that?
So let me give you an example. So here's the thing: I'm an entrepreneur, right? This is my maybe third business I've created. The first business I created was a waterless mobile car wash that wash cars without water.
Oh, whoa. How do you do that?
I used to work for the city of Philadelphia Department of Commerce. So the neighborhood I was handling was the West Philly and in the Caribbean cities in Fifth Street and so on and so forth. But West Philly, the Woodland, the Elmwood, and places like that. One thing I saw is whenever I come in the city, we see all these cars, especially people coming from outside the city, like New York and everything. They're often dirty and people don't know the city that well, but they need to clean their cars. So we're like, hey, we see all these cars. What if we bring the cleaning to you instead of you going there? So we went online, we found an EPA approved solution where you can spray it on the car, use a fiber towel, and then make the car look brand new. It's like, I can't believe it's not. I can't believe it's not water type of thing. Because
I can see the tire, I can see the head. I can't believe it's not water to clean.
I can't believe it's not water, right? So that's literally what it was. So I did that business. We did that business. The business is still alive, but I'm not part of it because I didn't have any passion. Right? It wasn't something that I find fulfilling. So I just leave it to my business partner. And then the second business I created which I had passion for, but COVID kind of killed it. But it
Right.
was a traveling company.
Okay.
The whole concept of this traveling company is I want you to experience cities like a local.
Okay.
You spend 7 days in one city, you
Right.
experience the food, the nightlife, pretty much everything the locals do, you do it in 7 days. You go where the
Yeah.
locals go, we do everything like that.
Wow. That sounds very promising.
Exactly.
Because
Then COVID came.
I can see that. I can see that. Right.
You
Right.
can travel, but
Right.
at the same time, one thing I always had in the back of my head is the inner cities, like especially in summertime. I
Yeah.
always see the beauty in it.
Yeah.
Like in the
Yeah.
summertime, you see the kids outside playing. When I was living there, when you had the fire hydrant, we didn't have pool. You have to find all the water.
Yeah. I
That
can
was
see it in my
cool.
mind right now.
Exactly. And sometimes, especially when in New York, you on the train subway, and then
Right.
the guys come in, they doing their dance and everything
Yeah.
like that, and they doing all these moves without hitting anyone.
Right.
So I always find this thing fascinating. I've always loved the story. But the thing is, how do you tell that story?
Wow.
I just didn't know
That's
how. I
right.
always had them back in
Right.
my head. I always see a beauty in the inner city. All right. So
Mhm.
I just didn't know how to tell that story.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then I was in Brazil, and while I was in Brazil, one thing I witnessed, and I mean I've experienced as well, is in Brazil, a lot, especially Brazil, have a large black population, the
Yeah,
largest
they do.
Afro
One of the
population.
largest in the world, diaspora.
Correct. It has the largest
Outside Africa,
after
absolutely.
Nigeria.
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
tells you how big it is. Right?
absolutely. Yep, yep.
So one thing I see is a lot of black people there don't have a lot of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
They're the one who they have the least opportunities.
Yeah.
And you experience insane amount of racism.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can be mad or I can create a solution.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the way I look at the world is you can be angry. Being angry is an emotion,
Right.
but it doesn't solve anything.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do? Because I think we all can do something.
Right.
We all can, like you right now, you're doing something about STEM, right?
Yeah.
So we all can do something. So back in my mind, I always thought about what can I do? And then one time in the gym, I'm running, I'm on the treadmill, and just click, boom. I want to tell the story of the inner city that I've always
Yeah.
wanted to tell. I want to give back. I want to give these kids skill set where
Yeah.
they don't have to go to college. They can have the skill set. They can work for any corporation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Around the world, because
Right.
everything's technically remote. Like we're doing right
Absolutely.
now. We're not in the same room right now. We're using
Absolutely.
technology. And
Isn't
we're
that
having a
amazing?
conversation.
Yep. Yep.
Technically,
Yep.
this is STEM in some ways.
Absolutely.
STEM is the cause of this.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep. Yep.
So I'm thinking, hey, boom, I can solve this. I'm telling the story, the beauty, showing the beauty of the inner city, using my money, the same money I make from it, to fund STEM, give these kids skill sets that can change their life and their family. So I'm like, what name can I call it? I don't want to call it ghetto. That's a bad, that's not good. So I'm like, oh, favela. That sounds, it's like a favela.
And what does favela mean? So what does it mean?
Favela, the meaning of favela is pretty much the inner city in Portuguese, pretty much.
Wow. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
In actuality, favela, the name itself came from a tree in Brazil, and they call Bahia. Bahia is the largest Afro, I'll say, city in Brazil. Wow. So that name came from a tree. So favela. So
I love the way it sounds. I really can see, I see the longevity in that. Favela.
I just love favela. Right. Sounds good.
Wow. That is good. That is absolutely good. And is rooted in culture, right? And there's a history behind that. Right. I love it. That's a great story, man. Wow.
So it's rooted in culture. There's a large story behind it. There's more to it because favela, the inner city itself, what happened is, we give you a little background of favela. So it was like these Afros, these people who fought in the war in Brazil. I think it was, and then when it was done, they didn't have any place to stay. Wow. So they was under a tree. And then in Rio, if you ever seen Rio, it's really, Brazil is a lot of hills, very hilly kind of city, especially in Rio. Yeah. So they moved to the hills to build homes because they were not allowed to stay down in the surface where people with money were staying.
Seriously. Wow.
So they moved to the hill, and then they start calling these areas favelas. And that's how you got the name favela. Favela is
Wow.
the inner cities.
I am really impressed by the inspiration that ignites, that actually facilitated the inception of Favela. I think it has roots, it has history. Definitely, I can see you're really telling your story. I just want to impress upon the listeners. I want them to be able to see the apparel again. I just can't get over it. And I hope that people see what I see. Can you see my view, my screen?
Yes, I can see
Okay.
your screen.
So this picture, for example, so let me go back. For example, this design and
Let me give you a story about this design right here. This
yes,
design,
please
this
go
is
ahead,
City
please.
Hall. So this is City Hall in the background.
Okay.
And then if you see is the guy.
Which city hall in Brazil?
No, this right here is City Hall in Philadelphia.
Oh, really?
You know how the guys doing the bike, the wheelies and everything when you're
Yeah,
driving down on
yeah.
Broad Street.
Right.
So if you see the clear picture on that one, it's on a website. If you go on website, you see it. But the clear picture, you see these guys doing the wheelies and City Hall is in the back, right there on Broad Street. That's pretty much what that picture, that image is. If you go,
Let me see if I can go to the website.
click on that. You can click on that. Oh, you had it.
This one right here?
Yeah, click on that one right here.
Okay.
Let's see, it should pop up. It should pop up.
There you go. Ooh, this is nice.
See, this is it. This is that. This is it right here. This is Philadelphia.
Let me click it. So hopefully it will. Okay.
Correct.
All right, there you go.
This is it right here.
Okay.
She's wearing it. This is the guys in the Willies.
Okay. Yeah.
Philadelphia.
Awesome.
So that's what I mean. The beauty in the inner city. We captured this right here. For some people, you're like, oh, this is for some people, they don't see the beauty in that.
But that's a lot of beauty.
A lot of beauty.
Wow, this is good.
Right.
That's telling a story here.
That's a story, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a story. These guys writing, it's all about showing the beauty. We do have some with graphic tees, some without graphic tees. We have more story to tell. We have a lot of other cities. We got story like here, Bahia. Bahia is the biggest Afro city in Brazil. This is the favela in the background. We have a sister, a black woman. I just see the beauty in her skin complexion. I just love that. So that's why I was paying homage to the brand. That's why I created Bahia, showing the beauty of the inner city and Brazil in the city of Bahia.
So do you hire someone to draw this?
Correct. So I have a person in Brazil itself. Okay. I have the image in my head. And I have the design and everything.
Okay, that is really good. Do you hold the patents to this? I hope you do.
Yes.
Okay, very good, very good. And this is the famous. This is really. You see, there you go.
That's
iconic. Yes. This is good.
Yeah, this is the favela right there. Also in the back, and you have the big Jesus, the Christ Redeemer. That is very popular in Rio. But the favelas, so I'm showing the favela. So like I said, I'm all about showing the beauty. That's this right here. That's the picture in the back here.
Is that you? Is that you?
That's me right there. I had to model my own clothes.
You look very handsome, man. Look at you. That is good. Is this inner city Philadelphia or is
this is downtown Philly. Yeah, we did a photo shoot here.
Oh, this is nice.
Yeah, so this is them playing inside of playing soccer. That's all about capturing that beauty. Like I said, the first drop we had was that we have more coming out. That is more about different places in the United States and everything like that. So
that is good. That's a good beginning. Actually, that is an awesome beginning. I love what you're doing. I really do. So I was going to ask you. So I know that one of your vision and aspiration is to sponsor STEM programs. So why the interest in STEM? Yeah.
The reason the interest in STEM, I work. So let me tell you what I do. Outside of this, I have a normal 9 to 5, right?
Okay.
So I work in the STEM field. So
Okay.
my job currently as a business development manager for Intel within SHI, my job function is mainly talking to customers, mostly
Okay.
schools, universities, mostly I cover public sector.
Okay.
So I have conversation about their curriculum, the hardware piece, that's where Intel comes in, the funding or the grant, and
Okay.
the space design.
Okay.
So what we've seen is that STEM is also attached to esports, right? And so esports is the largest, right after the NFL, esports
Yeah.
is right behind,
Yeah. Can
right?
you tell us what is esport for the
So
audience?
esports is entertainment sports, right?
Okay.
It's gaming, competitive gaming.
Okay.
So you have thousands of schools in the United States giving out scholarship for esports.
Wow.
Thousands.
Wow.
We at SHI, we had what we call Battle Academy, which was a scholastic esports tournament platform where we're giving out hundreds of $1,000s for curriculum, hardware, and space design to schools and everything, right? So I go to a lot of conferences. We have a lot of OEM partners like
Okay.
LG, Intel, Microsoft, all the big manufacturers, they all have interest in esports because esports is attached to STEM. And the reason STEM is very important is there's a lot of open positions right now, millions, hundreds of thousands of open positions right now that we cannot fill in America.
Seriously.
Right? So we have to get outside workers to come in to fill these roles.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we have a lot of young Black male and women, Hispanic, Asian, white, whatever, who can fill in these roles. So why don't we like
Oh, wait a minute. You said who can fill in this role, but we all know about the low representation of our population in the STEM field. Many of them are not really interested in STEM education. So how can they fill those without experience and knowledge? How can they fill those
that's
positions?
why we come in. That's why we want to, that's what Favela Boy is about, right? Because we know these young people, they love clothing. They got style. They love wearing nice
I see
and
where you're
everything.
going.
So they're already spending their money in clothing. They all like wearing. They already there.
This is innovative.
So while we attach it, bring the awareness, because the clothing is the awareness as well, giving back and also showing the beauty. It's all connected. So they're spending the clothing. The clothing business is $1 trillion business. Is only increasing even more.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So my thing is, we know where they are.
Yeah.
We know what interests these kids. And people always want to wear nicest clothes, right? You go on TikTok, you go on Instagram, people always want to dress in a different way or different clothes and everything, right? So why don't we create a clothing that is cool to wear, that is nice, the aesthetics is beautiful,
right?
Also give back, right? Also showing their beauty, but at the same time get them interest into STEM. Because some people don't know what STEM is.
That's true.
Then now they're gonna have the understanding of STEM, but at the same time, we have a bunch of young kids in the inner cities, they are gamers. Gaming and STEM go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
So we increase the interest, we have the understanding, hey, I can go ahead and be cybersecurity. I can go ahead, not only do all these other things.
Yeah.
Because we're not all gonna be basketball players and football players.
Yes, right? That is
but
true.
You can be a cybersecurity engineer.
Wow, this is really great. I love the way you're thinking, using your clothing, as a way to ignite passion in STEM. You recognize the low representation of our community in e-gaming, right? In this field. So what is one way to get them really aware of the potential in this field is by using what they spend their money on.
Exactly.
I just love it.
Because I used to spend my money on it.
Right.
So I know I was that guy. Right. So I'm always going to my experience because I was that young guy walking, going to the mall, spending every last dollar on those. So my thing is, hey, listen, let's bring awareness. And the reason I'm also here is I want more people to be aware of the brand, aware of what we want to achieve, because the more people who are aware of it, the more kids that's going to be aware of it, right? The more we're going to sell, the more we're going to donate. And guess what? The more kids going to be cybersecurities. And also, in addition, we have to be honest. STEM is also a way to get kids out of trouble, out of gangs. It's
Absolutely.
not just, we have to be honest there, because a lot of kids, they don't have nothing else to do, right? Bringing these
Absolutely.
computers to community centers, right?
Yes.
And these kids can game, right?
Yes.
Instead of being
Yes.
out here, they don't have any direction. Now these kids have direction. They know they can do something else. Because a lot of time, what it is knowledge they don't know.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about, I don't know, maybe you're doing it already, doing a fund, because while we're talking, I was just thinking about fundraiser, doing a fundraiser in the community, say, if you spend this amount of money on getting this clothing,
Right.
this amount of money is going to go towards STEM.
I
Or,
haven't not. Actually, I didn't even think about it doing a
yeah,
community event. I have
right.
not. Now it's something I'm gonna think about. I need to work
Yeah.
with some type of within Philadelphia and other places to do
Yeah.
that. I think that'll be very beneficial, actually.
Actually, you can also go to start with your local library too.
Okay.
So just book a space, just like other people do with books, right? So you can book a space during the weekend. Parents are going to be coming in to bring their children to the library.
Right.
So maybe that would be a great place to start engaging the parents as a way to change attitude and perspective. And I totally believe also that another way, this is where my own mission is, why I'm doing this podcast. I believe in engaging parents. I think one of the ways in which we can change people's perspective about STEM in our community
Correct.
is by bringing as much information to the parents as much as possible, right? Because once the parents know more about the benefit of STEM and how it can really change the life of their children, I think they will be a force. At least they will be part of the collaborators
Correct. Correct.
in order to help us changing the perspective. I think that could be one avenue for you. The other avenue, I don't know. I know that a lot of celebrities that they have their own line of clothing lines.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
And one of my favorite star, Rihanna, right? I love Rihanna, right? I literally do. Uh, so Rihanna is really, I love the story of Rihanna. I'm not kidding. Her story, self-fulfilling prophecy. I saw this video about Rihanna where I think she said she was going to be a superstar, literally. I think it was in the 90s. She's like you, coming from Caribbean to
Yeah.
the United States of America and stating that. And now look at her today. Look at what she has been able to do. It's just amazing. So maybe reaching out to Rihanna and her company to see, because she's doing something, you're doing something similar to what she is doing, but her target population is different from yours, right? But maybe a collaboration or maybe a sponsor.
Correct. Correct. It's
So,
yeah. So the thing is getting, because these people are so massive.
oh,
It's like it's hard to get in touch with those
oh,
people.
no, don't say that. Don't
No,
say
it never hurt to
that.
try. It never hurt
Look,
to
look,
try.
look, look, here it is. I'm talking to you. And I said that, wow, Andrew, it will be too difficult for me to reach out to Andrew. Guess what? Connection will never have happened. So you never know. You have to reach out. We all have to reach out. We can't be intimidated.
Right.
That is something that we also, in our community, trying to make a difference, have to really understand. We have to have that courage to say, you know what? We're trying to do good. So therefore, let's reach out, try to have an outreach. By doing that, you never know. You never know. So I'm talking with you now. So that is the power of outreach. So I have another question. So the question that I have for you is, it's still in the line of what you said. One of the reasons why you have your apparel. So empowering through aesthetic. So you mentioned that your graphic tees captures the beauty of the inner city. So how do you design your clothing to convey this message while also supporting STEM initiative or STEM education?
So when it comes to showing the beauty of the inner city, what to me what that means is I guess it's something that has to do with me, is the
Okay.
vision that I see,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
What I deem beauty, because as I said earlier, if you turn on the 6 o'clock news,
Mm.
just in general, you look at the history, especially in America, especially the black male itself, just black people in general,
Yeah.
we never seen in a good light. It's always been, even when you say something black, is never seen unless it's a car or something, right? Or the gala is black or whatever. It's never seen in the positive way, right?
Mm.
And the thing is, these kids that I want to have, who's gonna be the next, I don't know, cybersecurity personnel or whatever in STEM related, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want them to be represented, to see themselves, to see the beauty within themselves, to see the beauty where they stay, where they live,
Okay.
right? I
Okay.
want them to tell you, hey, you're beautiful.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
at the same time, give them that confidence. Hey, you can also transition to STEM. That
Mm.
confidence, hey, I'm beautiful, right? There's a beauty where I live. It's not what the TV says. Yeah, there's struggle, there's things we can do better, but the
Yeah.
people within are beautiful, right? So
Yeah.
you have that confidence when it comes to, hey, you can be a cybersecurity, you can be an engineer, you can be all this because you already have that beauty within you.
Mm.
You won't have no doubts to go ahead and pursue it. So it's
Yeah.
all connected, is to build that confidence at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. So you also, now let's talk about global impact, since your focus is not only in the United States, but also globally. So you have mentioned that providing computers to underserved areas in Brazil. I'm planning to do the same in South Africa. In my conversation with you previously, you did mention to me that you'll be going to South Africa.
Right.
How do you identify these opportunities? And what challenges do you face while implementing your initiative in different countries?
Yeah, that's a good question. Very good question. For example, we were in January, we were in Brazil. So what I
Okay.
do is I have Brazil, I have friends in Brazil because I go to Brazil all the time.
Okay.
So hey, can you search for a nonprofit organization that, not to be biased, I usually like for them to be mostly black, that
Okay.
caters strictly to the black underserved community or Latin or whatever.
Oh,
So and then
is there a reason why you work with black partners, especially in the city, rather than the white partners in the
well,
city?
yeah,
Reason?
because the real reason is it's no different than America. They're
Okay.
underserved, they don't have access. And when you
Okay.
look at low skilled labor job, it's mostly black, especially in
Right.
Brazil, majority
That's
black.
true.
And then
Right.
even when you go to a so-called upscale place,
Right.
often you're the only black person in there. You're the only person representing. And you have to deal with all these things.
Okay.
And so that's the main reason,
So
because
it's basically more logistic because, for example, who will be in a better position, as you're saying, to be able to appeal to a population that are underserved. So if this population that are underserved are predominantly minorities, the best spokesperson may be someone of there that speak the same language, that probably have the same skin color. Not to
correct,
say that the other colors will not be relevant, but
correct,
a
correct,
lot of
correct.
times there's a lot of suspicion when our communities see, like, take for example, like law enforcement, right? It's easy
Correct.
for someone in our community to be more receptive to a officer who is black just like I am, rather than
Correct.
an officer that is not black. I think that
Correct.
is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. That's pretty much the same thing. And often the people live within the community as well.
Okay,
So they have the connection with the people. They're not just there, they live within the community, like the
that's good.
Brazil place we were
Yes,
in.
I
Like we
can
went
see
to
that.
the person's house, right?
Yeah,
Inside the favela, right?
yeah,
We
yeah.
get a tour inside of it and everything. So it's often the people live within the community
I see
itself.
that.
So they
I see
not
that.
only represent, but they're also part of that community.
I see
And
that.
to answer your question, so often that's how I do it. And the obstacle we come across is often have to do with sending things over there,
Okay.
especially with Brazil. there's a lot of restrictions,
Okay.
and they have a ton of taxes, even though the
Wow.
devices,
More than the United States?
yeah, it's worse.
Whoa. Wow.
Because those computers we were sending, they're high-end computers.
Okay.
And to them, they believe that people gonna be reselling them, even though we show them they are nonprofit, because you have to show that they are nonprofit. They have a similar, they have a code, right? A
Yeah.
nonprofit code. And so even though you show them that, it make it still very difficult.
Okay.
So
I
that's
see.
the difficulty we come across with some, every country is different. I
Okay.
believe South Africa might be a lot easier than Brazil.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Brazil got all these rules and regulation towards importing stuff, and it makes it a bit difficult.
Wow. Wow. It's good to know. It's good to know because I'm also trying to do something as it pertains to resources to underserved community in Africa. So and that's one of the reasons why I asked that question. But it's good to know. In terms of collaboration and partnership, collaboration seems to be a significant part of your approach. Just like you have mentioned, you have a lot of friends in Brazil. And when you send all those computer parts or computer to Brazil, there has to be someone who actually will have to receive it and
Right.
will have to distribute it to the right location.
Right.
Could you elaborate how you collaborate with nonprofit organizations such as donors? Because there could be some people, companies, corporation who will see this program and are looking for to be actually part of our efforts to
Right.
get more in the underserved community involved through donations, right? So that's why I'm asking this question.
Correct.
Could you elaborate on how you collaborate with nonprofit organizations, donors, partners to maximize the impact of your efforts?
Correct. Correct. So with nonprofit organization, so what we do is we get in touch with a nonprofit organization. We're verified. I have a lot of conversation with them just to see, you know, what their needs are, because different nonprofit might have different needs, right? Focus is getting the computer. If a lot of nonprofit, a lot of organization, even schools, their problem is the computer itself. They need the device because
That's
devices are expensive, right? So
that's
that's why
true.
I focus on that. I don't give you money. I rather, because my main goal is to give you the fish. I want to teach you how to fish rather than just give you the fish, right? I don't want to
Right,
just give you money, you do something else with it. I
right.
want to
That's
give you
true.
computers in your hand. So
Right.
when it comes to nonprofit, I find these nonprofit, I have conversation. I have to go to a whole process to make sure you are actually a nonprofit. You actually have needs, and also I have to make sure you are STEM focused, right? That's the key.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
I don't work with just any nonprofit. It has to be STEM focused nonprofit, right?
Okay.
So when it comes to different organization I want to partner with, my main goal is um awareness, right? So if you want to donate, buy some more clothes, right? Because I don't want to just take money from you,
You're right.
right? The
Right.
way you take the money, you buy my clothes, and I take the percentage of that,
Mm.
right? Yeah, so that's the way I would like. So if you're a business, I like to get awareness. We can partner so we can have more people know what we are about. So more people we can partner and I don't know. Depends on the business. Every business is different, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
maybe we partner on some type of giving away computers where I have you purchase the computer, I put my stamp on there. We
Right.
can do it that way, right?
Okay.
Because verify that, hey, Favela Boys Apparel was part of this. We can do it that way as well. So it
Okay.
depends on the organization. We can partner, but the main goal is to get more awareness about Favela Boys Apparel so I can sell more clothes, which in return buy more computers, work
Okay.
with more nonprofit, so more kids have STEM education.
Okay.
Because in America, what I've seen to work and everything is getting computers is the hardest thing.
Okay. So if I may understand, so put a pin on this. So the way you collaborate with nonprofit organization or maybe donors is one, they can provide you with the computers itself, and
Correct.
then you distribute it to the other nonprofit organization, let's say in the inner city or in Brazil. But those nonprofit organizations have to be STEM oriented. The second way is the company or organization buying your apparel. Then you take that 15% from whatever profit that you make, then you buy the computer yourself, and then you also distribute it as a nonprofit. So that's how it works.
One thing I want to correct, if
Yes.
a nonprofit is giving out computers, right, they can be any nonprofit. They don't have to be STEM focused if they are giving it out, right?
Okay.
So I'll just add my stamp on the computer.
Okay.
But as far as like when I'm working with a nonprofit, as far as who's gonna get devices from me, it has to be a nonprofit that's focused on STEM. Right? Any nonprofit can donate computers, but as far as when I'm working with a nonprofit that I'm giving back to, it has to be STEM focused.
I got you. I understand now. I got it.